what is this channel about? And it's about paradigm shifts in economics, governance, and knowledge systems. And this is because I believe we are living through a historic moment of transition. And this relates to technology, it relates to breakdown in trust in institutions, it relates to a lot of things, geopolitical risk, all of that. And I believe our current system has this power to the powerful dynamic to it, where more and more resources are being sucked into these power battles between people at the top of the system. And in calling it the New Enlightenment, I'm making an analogy with the Old Enlightenment. And this was a time in history when these thinkers were coming up with new concepts, new, in some ways, mythologies, to get out from under the thumb of the power structures of that time, which included the church, it included kings, it included lots of things. And to do this, the ideas and concepts they came up with included human rights and universal education and checks and balances on power, the scientific method, due process, freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. They thought carefully about tyranny of the majority. They've thought carefully about tyranny of a small minority. And the world has changed a lot since the Old Enlightenment, so that things have sped up. Digital technologies have come on the scene, and network power, network properties have become way more an integral part of how our system works. And because of that, this is not just a revitalization of the Old Enlightenment. It's a new enlightenment. Some of the concepts will need to be expanded or morphed in a way to actually do the thing they were trying to do, to get out from under the thumb of tyranny. And who am I to be speaking of these things? And first of all, everybody should have a license to speak about these things. We need to speak about them. But my own background, if you want to know, I'm an economics professor. I've taught at a liberal arts college for 13 years. Healthcare economics and behavioral economics are sort of my bread and butter specialties, but I've also taught game theory, I've taught blockchain economics, I've taught about digital industries, I've co-taught courses with anthropology professors and psychology professors. I really love cross-disciplinary collaborations. In a lot of ways, this channel is a theory channel. It's really about economic theory, game theory, systems theory, and evolutionary theory. And all four of those types of theory, I think, are very much intertwined. Another question you might want to know is, what am I doing with this channel? And there's really two things that are sometimes at odds, but I'm still doing both. One is I want to make content from the most important books in this space accessible to the general public. And maybe my audience isn't exactly the general public, it's people who are interested in these topics. But I just want to make it such that you don't have to go read this really complex book to understand some of these things that are essential. And maybe, hopefully, you will see some of my videos where I break down those concepts and go read them on your own. So that's one of the goals of the channel. The second goal is that I'm exploring these ideas myself and fleshing out my own way of thinking about them. I'm currently writing a book on these topics, and the channel really helps me parse through the analogies that might be relevant, because of course paradigm shifts are going to involve changes in economic myth, changes in the analogies that are the foundation of how our system works. So that's how to understand this channel.